Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Lost World for the Nintendo Wii U/PC. So anyways, last time we actually did completely done with the forms of the most bizarre world in this entire game, and that is of course the hidden world. Like, the first half is somewhat hit or miss, and the other two levels that I've managed to explore, most notably Zone 2 and 3, have always been one of the cooler levels throughout, at least to me though anyway though, because even then, Zone 1 and 4, they're just plain bizarre to me though. So even then, today for this episode ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the grand finale of this game's Let's Play, because even then though I said this before, after two uploading recording sessions for Super Mario Party, then, well, I can finally hit back to this, and hopefully we should conclude this as the entire Let's Play completionist. So, anyways though, so today for this video is the fact that we're about to be exploring through not one, not two, but three pieces of DLC stages where we can able to actually play around with. Well, so if you ever play this on the PC version, you only just get one. That is, of course, the Nightmare Zone. And speaking of the Nightmare Zone is going to be based off from Nights into Dreams, as you can see, because, Sonic is about to be go ahead and going to sleep. And instantly, we can able to transport onto Nightmare Zone, based off from Nights into Dreams, of course. So, yeah, I think in order to actually get this DLC, specifically on the Wii U version, is that you need to get yourselves the Deadly 6 edition of Sonic Lost World. So that's why I've managed to got this game day one, when this game did first came out. So even then, I was pretty lucky to be able to get that. But unfortunately, every now and then, is the fact that the Deadly 6 edition, as far as the physical version of the game itself is concerned, is actually way more pricey and expensive, and plus it's really hard to get at this point at this time going forward. So I do apologize for the lack of dialogue for that point, because of my commentary is a little bit more delayed or anything like that, so you probably get the idea. So how's for the Nightmare Zone plays out? Well, if you're familiar with the Deadly 6 boss battles from before, now we need to deal with them again, but this time around though, they actually get able to interact with these familiar bosses from the likes of the Nights games, basically. In this case, Nights into Dreams / Nights Journey of Dreams. So even then though, there's a really cool throwback to the forms of how it does it between those duology of games for Nights into Dreams, because even then, for the actual fan service and here and there. However though, you don't have to deal with the forms of the Deadly 6 all by itself. All you need to do is just basically, you do the exact same thing for how it does it on the normal campaign. So even then though, like for instance, for example, we need to take down this familiar fatty clown from the very start of the forms of the Nightmare Zone, and especially noticeable that we need to, rather than just trying to take on Zoomon, we need to land on that one-eyed hand, in this case, iRock version of Super Mario 64, well, in this case, the Knight's version of the iRock from Super Mario 64, then after that, then we can able to actually guide the fish-looking monster thing with Master Zeke, and then, let him go into the actual water, and that's all you have to do for that part. So now after that it goes like this, then we can move on to the second half, which we're now at Xeno of all things, and rather than just able to take control of the actual snowball, instead we can now finally take control of Sonic for this point this time. So even though, and in this particular part, we need to take down every single of those mice rockets, and if you do so like this, then you were able to move on to Zora, which we need to take on the forms of that Joker right there. So not the Joker from the Persona 5 series, but the Joker from the Nights games. So, and basically, that kick ability that I was on about from before, we need to use that again, but this time around though, rather than just actually sending the actual projectiles right back at him, instead we need to able to actually just kick the actual cards back at him. So it's not that very long of a level though. It probably took you about like 8 to 5 minutes, depends on how well you're doing for this point. So yeah, you probably get the idea just how this will go. And in this part, we need to able to actually just, reflect the cards 3 times back at Zora. So, strangely enough, though, is the fact that the Deadly 6 itself doesn't have that much dialogue on the actual Nightmare Zone, because they only has those during the main campaign. So even though, I guess that makes it obvious, because, you probably get the idea for that. So, and obviously the final boss in this zone is of course Zorok right there, and this time around though, we need to able to actually mainly focuses on this particular lock-on tail right there this time, as opposed to the likes of how it does it on the machinery version of that snake, unlike the forms of how it does it on the Sky Road Zone. So yeah, I guess we don't have to worry about the forms of like coming attack onto this Zavok thing right there. So if you manage to deal with all the bosses from the likes of not only from the Deadly Six, but it's also the creatures from the likes of Night into Dreams / Journey of Dreams, then that's how the level ends, because as you can tell, we're on black and white mode at the moment. So in order to actually restore color, is that, well, it obviously does it by itself. So, and this is actually a great way to able to actually just max out a lot of rings, and in addition with that, a lot of extra lives too, because, well, after when the forms of the actual latest patch has been released, which is specifically version 3.0.0, then it just makes it so much of a cakewalk when it comes to, like, I think you get, like, 700 rings every time you bypass for those little, loops or hoops, if you're familiar with the Knights games, basically. So yeah, that's a very cool reward, but I don't think you can get that much of flickies on that one though. But until when we get to the later DLC zones, most notably with the forms of the Legend of Zelda Zone, then we'll show that off for last, because I feel like that the Legend of Zelda Zone will always have to be my favorite of the three. So, either way though, every time you're able to complete one of the DLC stages, we actually get ourselves... What the hell was that? Oh, that's right, we have ourselves an unknown wisp that we can able to actually... I think I'm actually going to show this off whenever we get to the Legend of Zelda Zone, because I feel like just trying to say so. So anyways, let's go and get rid of my super sneakers for now, and let's move on to the second DLC, which appears to be only exclusive on the Wii U between both of those zones potentially. So let's move on to the first one of the bunch for the Wii U exclusive ones, is Yoshi's Island Zone, which as you can see, we can actually traverse through the Yoshi's Island, or some of the similar visual style from Yoshi's story, that except this time around though, we actually playing as Sonic the Hedgehog in a 2D plane, and that really that really surprised me, because even then though, since that Sonic has already been to the Yoshi story environment ever since in Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games in Dream Long Jump event, but now we have ourselves a full-fledged level with that specific stuff. So even then though, I'm very happy about the fact that not only that Sonic can able to actually explore through you know, the Yoshi's Island Zone, but he can also explore through the Legend of Zelda Zone, which again, we'll show that off later, in the forms of that particular DLC package. Well, in this case, luckily for you, for those of you ever noticing this, is the fact that the actual price between the forms of Yoshi's Island Zone and the Legend of Zelda Zone, these are completely free. So even though that way you can able to completely enjoy your experience between these two surprisingly very fun stages, as you can see right there, because not only that, in Yoshi's Island Zone in particular, we got ourselves these familiar objects we're most likely familiar with from the Yoshi's Island games. Like for instance, we got ourselves these Yoshi's eggs, and also these smiley happy flowers, and especially noticeable with coins replacing the... I think the rings has now been replaced as coins, I realized, which conveniently enough though, that behaves exactly like how it does it as rings for this particular stage. So yeah, you probably get the idea. And especially not to mention with all those kinds of stuff, we got ourselves these familiar enemies from Yoshi's Island as well. Like for instance, we got Shy Guys, Piranha Plants, and you name the rest. The only time you can able to deal with the Piranha Plants though is the fact that unlike in Yoshi's Island game for the Super Nintendo, which by the way, that game is such a fantastic game for the Super Nintendo, by the way, you should definitely recommend checking that out, especially if you guys who have now owned the Super Nintendo Classic Mini. That game has now been included onto that specific console mini. So even then though, that was a really great chance so that you can finally actually get a chance to play that game. So, because the original cartridge version might be slightly pricey due to its the Super Effects chip mode or something like that, what I've noticed. But apart from that though, it's a fantastic game, especially noticeable if you either get this on the Super Nintendo, which you must definitely recommend the Super Nintendo version, because not so much bad on the Game Boy Advance version besides the screen crunch, but even though it works as well. So even though, and as you can tell, we got ourselves these Yoshi's eggs that usually follow me all this time. However though, if you get hit by the enemies, specifically Shy Guys or Piranha Plants, not only you lose your coins, but it's also you might actually lose your Yoshi's eggs, which, conveniently enough though, I don't usually do that though, because I'm always being very careful and cautious at the same time. And I think it only gets like 3 Yoshi's eggs every time you hit this little particular block. And just like in Yoshi's Island, we can able to jump for this little flower ring, and that's how the level ends. And by the way, listen to this awesome rendition of the victory music right there. Man, that was super sweet. Especially noticeable how the fact that, as you can tell, I got ourselves a whole bunch of Yoshis in this particular zone. And that way, if you finish the main level, you get yourselves the insane amount of lives you can get. Especially noticeable that, just like in a Nightmare Zone from Night into Dreams, this is also another great level to be able to farm some more of those extra lives. Like, you can get up to like 99, as you can see, as you can see, I've maxed out my extra lives right now. And so whenever we get to the last DLC level, which is specifically the Legend of Zelda Zone, in this case, my favorite DLC stage in this entire game, because we can able to actually explore Hyrule, but in a 3D perspective. And this time around, though, Sonic actually wears a Link outfit, which is really awesome even to this day. And even though it got the rendition of the Legend of Zelda theme in the background, especially noticeable as you can see the Hyrule Castle, and there's Link with I would say the a Skyloft bird or something like that. I haven't really exactly played that much of Skyward Sword, to be honest with you, because even though, well, I did manage to complete that game all in all with 100% and everything, but I'd really love to able to actually tackle for that game at some point in the future. Well, I would say until whenever it gets to the point until 2021 or something like that, or 2021, due to that game is going to be almost 10 years old. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I wish if that game will be re-released as a remake on the Nintendo Switch, but it still never happened, so it's kind of unfortunate. But hey, on a plus side note, the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake on the Nintendo Switch will be on its way at some point. So even then, I'm really looking forward to that though. And also we got this very familiar iconic moments like this. So yeah, not only that, we also got ourselves the forms of that particular rupees that we managed to still collect, which depends on what colors you collect. Like, assuming that the green ones were able to give you just one. And also these Cocos, let's go ahead and just homie attack into them. And just like in any other Zelda games, oh god, they're going after me! Ah! But of course, we're the fastest thing alive, of course, and how the hell? Anyways though, so I really do love this zone so much, because that's the reason why I'm really into the Zelda series at this point, especially consists of how the fact that I managed to complete some of them. Not all of them, mind you, per se, because I'm still pretty much working on it, especially noticeably about the fact that Mickey definitely still needs to get back onto The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past at this point. But even though expecting so already, then, you know, you probably get the idea. So even though, I get sure that the blue rubies might actually give you like 5 rubies, and I'm not exactly sure about the any other colored rubies, because I know it's been such a long while since I actually experienced the Zelda game ever since then. So even then though, especially noticeable, I'm really looking forward to the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake on the Nintendo Switch. So, also you got these very familiar sound effects from the past few Zelda games, most notably with the opening treasure chests here and there, which if you manage to stumble across the treasure chest and all that stuff, the only reward it gives you is the heart containers, because yes, rather than just giving you rings, instead it's being replaced as heart containers as your health. And before we mention about this, however, though, let's go ahead and show off the unused wisp that we can able to use is known as the Black Bomb, which it's okay. I mean, nothing outstanding or anything. All it does is basically it allows you to able to access to those different parts of the level, as you can see on the Legend of Zelda Zone, as you can tell. The reason why I'm showing that off is because that way you can able to actually access to those different areas of, you know, for this particular dungeon. Because yes, there are 2 areas of the Legend of Zelda Zone, as a matter of fact. There was one in the overworld, and especially noticeable, well, in the Hyrule Field, I should say. And there's also the second section, which usually takes place in the underground, but to be more accurately though, it actually takes you to somewhere almost near to the Gorons, because yes, we might actually come across into those Gorons exponentially. So even then though, because of this though, yeah, that's everything else I can say about it. Now I can assure you that it might actually contain, well, you start things off with 3 heart containers and stuff like that, whenever you start the level off, but eventually there are some other 3 heart containers that you must find in the actual level. So even then though, that is a really pretty amazing DLC as a result. And I think this came out later after the Yoshi's Island Zone, which fundamentally though, I was really happy about this, especially noticeable. Well, as I said this before, if you guys ever owned the PC version of this game, the only piece of DLC you can only get is Night into Dreams level, which is of course a Nightmare Zone, because as far as I'm aware, the Nintendo zones, most notably Yoshi's Island Zone and the Legend of Zelda Zone, are only for the Wii U exclusive, because, you know, it's on the Nintendo console, whilst on the PC version is from any other company out there. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So, and of course, since we actually gathered so many rupees, as you can tell, this actually translates into the forms of these flickies, which will probably be pointing things out whenever we get to the very end of the level. In fact, the ending portion of the level, to me, though, will always have to be my favorite part about this level, because, well, after dodging for those Gorons, as you can see there, and then if you get to that almost exactly the same sequence, then, yeah. So yeah, Sonic has managed to got himself his Triforce, representing like Triforce of Power, Triforce of Wisdom, and of course the Triforce of Courage. And as you can see, every time you collect those rupees, it gives you a lot of flickies. I think this is actually a really great zone to be able to actually farm a lot of those flickies, because even then, if you're missing out on quite a lot of stuff, excluding by the forms of nearly towards the end of the main adventure of the game, then you weren't able to, you know, come back into this level again, and then that way you can able to actually just to farm even more animals as a result, without even needing those circus tents or even breaking those animal capsules throughout the levels. So, yeah, it's a very great reward if you manage to able to do such a thing. So, and don't worry, the DLC stages will stay refreshed as it is, even though that's the only thing I really do enjoy most of it. So even then though, that was it for the forms of the DLC stages of Sonic Lost World for the Nintendo Wii U version. But again, there are 3 DLCs in total, excluding if you manage to able to include one for the pre-order bonus, so you probably get the idea. So thank you so much for watching, guys, of our Let's Play of Sonic Lost World for the Nintendo Wii U. I hope you guys were able to enjoy this Let's Play in particular, myself included. Even though after the Red Ring Star frustrating moments here and there, or in this case Red Star Rings grinding and all that stuff, I didn't have a very good time as a result. So, and I think there's not much else I could really say in the future besides Team Sonic Racing until next year for the next new Sonic Let's Play. So, hope you guys enjoy it. This is me, Sonic the Hedgehog from the Maxi Toys, and until then, take care of yourselves. Bye.